All right, what's up, guys? My name is Zach, and today I am driving a 1995 Nissan Gloria. Gran Turismo Ultima. Up front is a 3.0-liter turbocharged V6. Down below is a 4-speed automatic transmission. Now, I'm super excited to be driving this car for a couple of different reasons. First of all, I drove a Nissan Cedric a while back, and I absolutely loved it. And this is a very, very similar car to that. And the second reason is because my good friend Matt just picked up this car. He's super excited about it. I'm super excited about it. Everyone's super excited about it. So let's get back to that 3.0-liter turbocharged V6 under the hood. Well, it is not a VG like Glorias of the past. This is a Y33 platform, and this gets the VQ30 DET. So VQ is an engine family from Nissan, more commonly known from the Nissan 350Z has a VQ35, and the Nissan 370Z has a VQ37, as well as the Infiniti FX and other vehicles of the sort. However, this is the only Nissan production vehicle to have a VQ30 with a turbo. And the really weird thing about this is that it's not that much of a punch from the turbo. It's very, very linear, which is actually very characteristic of 90s vehicles, but you'd think, oh, V6 turbo, it probably packs that punch. And it is quick, but in a more subtle Japanese way, sort of Yakuza Mafia style way, where it's almost this hidden power, which is really fantastic. It's very smooth and linear, like I said, and it really reminds me of the FD Mazda RX-7 with its sequential turbos, or like the Acura NSX with its subtle VTEC. The power is there, it just doesn't punch you in the gut about it. I'll put the horsepower and torque up on the screen when I can find it. Finding stuff for these Japanese cars can sometimes be dicey, so if it's not up on the screen, I apologize. So I'll get a little bit of audio here for you. This even has an HK exhaust, and it's so ridiculously quiet. It's a very, very quiet car. Again, very, very quiet, very subtle, and I really like that about it. Like I said, paired to it is an automatic transmission, and the Gloria only came with an automatic transmission. That's because this was more of sort of a luxury vehicle. This is a big body sedan. This was meant for driving people around, and that'll become more apparent once we get towards the back. But this was a smooth, comfortable car. This wasn't meant to be shifting your own gears. That was for the poor man. The rich man had an automatic transmission in the 90s, and so the Gloria got that. Last but not least, the Gloria is rear-wheel drive. Driving it, you don't really feel how big it is. This is a big sedan, and it really doesn't feel as large as it appears. It handles really well. Steering is dead on, great turn in, and it's very, very comfortable too. It's a very comfortable ride, and I love that. So let's talk about the interior. We have quite a bit to go through in here and some very exciting things for the 90s. Well, in front of me, I have 4 main gauges. On the left is my fuel. Then I have my speedometer, of course, in kilometers an hour. And then on the right, I have my tachometer and my coolant temperature. Down below the gauges, I do have 2 dead switches. Now, this is very, very infuriating because the Gran Turismo Ultima is the top trim. This is the one. This is the top dog. This was the most expensive version of the Gloria you could buy back in 1995, and there's dead switches. Why? Just make the panel flat. I don't know. On the steering wheel, I don't actually have anything. To the right of me, I just have a vent, and on the door, I have my power mirrors as well as power folding mirrors, which is very nice. Lock and unlock, and my power windows. Moving into the center, I have 2 climate control vents, and then I have a touchscreen radio. All right, so this is a very interesting part of the Nissan Gloria. Now, first thing that I want to note is that what you're seeing on camera right now, the refresh rate of the camera and refresh rate of the screen are not getting along that well. So it looks like there's a black bar that keeps coming down and covering the screen. That cannot be seen by the naked eye. That's only a camera trick. What I'm seeing is this image. Oh, this image solid. I don't see that black bar. I'm using the viewfinder of the camera to tell where it is, but my actual eyes don't see it. But anyway, this is touchscreen. Yes, it is touchscreen, which is fantastic. Now, I don't know what most of this means, of course, but when I turn it off, I can look at the air conditioning and settings for the car. I could turn my fan speed up or down. It's not a very responsive screen. It's definitely cool to have a touchscreen from 95. Again, that's 26 years ago. And I can do outside, things like that. No idea what that button does, but that's fine. I can listen to CDs. However, this is the most frustrating volume knob I've ever dealt with. I think it might be broken, but when I turn it up, it goes up and then down and then up and then down and then up and then down. It doesn't, look, okay, I'm going to turn it to the right. Ready? Oh, volume's going, oh, volume's going up, down, up, it's down, it's down. It's all going the same way. What's going on? So the thing about Japanese radios is that they don't quite get American frequencies. They only go up to about 90, where here in the States, most stations are above 90, like 96 or 103.5. You can't get 103.5 in this car. However, I do have this last button here that says TV. So I could get, back in Japan, I could get TV stations. That's right. I also have adjustments for the sound, which is great. And you can see there's actually like a diagram of the passengers inside the vehicle, which is really, really cool. This is very, very 90s. I absolutely love it, but a touchscreen in a car like this is something you just didn't see for the time. Now pretty much every car has a touchscreen, but for 1995, this is very, very rare, very unique. To the right of the radio, I have my climate controls. Nothing really too crazy here, recirculating, things like that. Then I have an ashtray and a 12-volt outlet / cigarette lighter, of course. And then we come to the shifter itself. The shifter looks pretty nice. It's very typical out of the 90s. Nothing really too crazy here, especially for Nissan. However, I do have power and snow mode that I can turn on and off. So power mode will basically just kind of hold gears for a little bit longer. Because it's an automatic transmission, of course, you don't really have the selectability of a manual. So this kind of helps out in that way, but again, it does not make it a manual. Then I have a little opening cubby as well, which isn't really a cup holder, and I don't really get cup holders in this car. I guess you can put cups in here if you'd like to. However, I wouldn't recommend it, and the big friggin' bottle does not even fit in it. So the first ever JDM test of the big friggin' bottle, the Gloria, fails the big friggin' bottle test.
I'm not surprised you missed it, but when you open this, it's a little thing that says push right there. It folds down these. And if you have something smaller, about 250 mil, you can pop those out and get you a little bit more room, or, well, a little tighter on your cup.
Then I do have a very interesting center console here. It's two-way openable. You can open up the top as well as the larger compartment down below. Really like that customization of it. Gives you some options, and I always love options. Now we gotta talk about the seats. The seats are very plush. They are cloth, and I love this plush cloth from the 90s from Nissan. The Skyline's got it, the Cedric got it, the Laurel got it, and the Gloria got this really awesome fabric. It's very comfortable, it's warm, and I love it. You just sink right into it, and it just provides such a comfortable ride. But speaking of comfortable rides, let's hop in the back. All right, so we're in the back of the 1995 Nissan Gloria Gran Turismo. And the first thing I wanted to note is, first of all, like I said, this is really a car you want to ride in. And so you can actually move the passenger seat pretty much all the way up, which is fantastic and gives you tons of legroom if you're sitting here in the back. So, there we go. So much space, and I absolutely love that. The seats themselves, super comfortable. Some of the most comfortable seats I've ever sat in, really only rivaled in America by like Crown Victorias. Super plush, really comfortable seat. Headroom is good. Of course, legroom once the seat is moved up is good. But even when the seat was back, it wasn't actually terrible. But the interesting thing is that down here, I do have a cigarette lighter, and over here I have ashtrays, of course. But the interesting thing is that I actually have a video jack. So the typical yellow, white, and red video inputs from like a PlayStation 1 or 2 or Wii, you could actually plug in here, and then that TV in the dash that we were talking about, you can actually play a video game, you could watch a movie if you have a DVD player or something like that. That is really, really cool. Now, there is no power outlets back here. There is that 12-volt outlet for the cigarette lighter, so there's no direct power back here. You'd probably have to put like an inverter or something of the sort. However, that is super, super cool. Two more things before we talk about the trunk space. First of all, this opens up. Again, no cup holders, but nice center console, and then down here on the floor, I have a nice badge that just says Gran Turismo. Again, this was the top tier of the Gloria, so you got that nice metal stamp in the floor, which is absolutely fantastic and really reminds you you're driving something special, if the right-hand steering wheel in America wasn't special enough. Let's go take a look at the trunk, and then we'll talk about the looks. All right, so actually one thing before we get to the trunk. This key, this is the OEM key, actually has a locker on it. So you can actually lock and unlock the car from the key. Again, really great for 1995. But look at this. I mean, look at this. Linkin Park. Wow, I didn't know Matt had a Linkin Park CD. I guess he doesn't have the CD. Anyway, here is your disc changer, which is really, really nice. Now, the trunk is very big. Obviously shown by this great Polaroid photo I took of our friend Adam. He fits in here quite fine. However, it's not as deep as I thought it would be because of those nice rear seats. You lose a little bit of trunk space. One last thing to note, again, based off of the Polaroid, is the fact that there is no child exit or emergency pull tab to open the trunk from the inside. If you want to play a practical joke and shove your friend in the trunk, they cannot get themselves out. Gotta love Japan in the 90s. Now we gotta talk about the looks. Again, I really like the look of the Gloria. It's really starting to grow on me. I wasn't its biggest fan when I first saw it, but the more I look, the more I like, which is always great to find with a car. Again, very, very subtle. This sort of stealth wealth almost. Yes, this is a Nissan product, but look at the badges on the front. They're not Nissan badges. Those are different badges. So, while over in Japan in the 90s, they actually didn't have Infinity, this was sort of the Infinity of that time. This was the upper class. This was the upper tier. This is the top 1% of Nissan owners bought this. This was the luxury car. And so with all that out of the way, let's talk about my final thoughts here on the Nissan Gloria. Well, this is a Y33 chassis. And the Cedric that I drove was a Y32 chassis, which was just the chassis that came before this one. If you know how to count, you could figure that out. And these vehicles are very similar. Their stories are nearly identical. However, that story goes as such. These are very comfortable, yet fun to drive big sedans. The closest thing I could compare this to that I've driven here in the States has been the Infiniti Q45. However, that's actually a Y34 chassis, which came after this one, but it drives very similar, feels very similar in size and weight. And so if you're looking for an American market vehicle to compare this to, that would be the one. But really, of the words I have for this car, it's all good things. It's fun to drive. It's still engaging. However, it's very, very comfortable. It is decently modifiable. Of course, finding OEM parts like dash pieces, interior pieces, things like that are going to be very, very hard because this car was never sold here. This isn't meant for American roads. However, here it is. I really love this car. I love driving these cars. These cars are fantastic. And the last thing I wanted to touch on is the Nissan Skyline R32. I've driven an R32 multiple times, and I love them. R32s, I think, are some of the coolest cars to come out of the 90s, hands down. However, the market for them is getting very expensive. A non-turbo Nissan Skyline is going for more than $10,000, which is about $8,000 more than they're really worth. I'm sorry, but it's true. A non-turbo Skyline ain't worth that much. And so the Skyline market is so saturated, but the Gloria market isn't. We've all gone to car shows and seen R33s, and if you're lucky enough here in the States, you've seen one of the handful of R34s here. But when was the last time you saw a Gloria? Or a Cedric for that matter. Any Y33 platform. This is more rare, more unique, easier to live with, and just downright cool. I love this car. I don't know. I'm starting to fall towards Nissans. I've been thinking about it more and more. The Japanese domestic market 200ZS I drove last fall, I think might go down in history as of right now as the best car I've ever reviewed. And the Gloria is right up there as well. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to my good friend Matt. He's always been a supporter of the channel. I've known him for quite some time. He's really, really awesome. And as soon as he picked up this car, he picked up this car and he was driving it home from the dealership, and he asked me if I wanted to review it. That meant the world to me. He hadn't even gotten license plates for it yet, and he was already excited to let me do this review, and I'm very excited to have done this review. So huge thank you to him. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you would like to. Take care, guys.